Rahman Rahim. Today I would like to share the knowledge about systemic reviews and meta-analysis, and other one is the narrative reviews. My name is Sarfraz Rahman. I did PhD in parasitology. Today I am here to tell about what is the difference between the systemic reviews and the narrative reviews. So the systemic reviews, it is actually differ from the traditional narrative reviews in several ways. So narrative reviews, it is tend to mainly that is a descriptive and not involve a systemic search of the literature. So you can see here that this is a that is not it is not a systemic search of the literature, and thereby often focus on the that is the main focus is that the subset of the studies in an area chosen based on availability or the author's selection. So that the narrative reviews, while it is informative and can often include an element of selection bias. So it is the selection bias, while the systemic reviews, it is not a selection bias. So you can see that is the main difference of that systemic review and the narrative reviews. Next, they can also be confusing at times, particularly if the similar studies have diverging results and conclusions. So it doesn't focus on the specific times. So the systemic reviews, as the name implies, typically involve a detail and the comprehensive plan and the and search strategies driven a priori with the goal of reducing bias by identifying, appraising, and synthesizing all relevant studies on a particular topic. So now I would like to tell about what is the meta-analysis. Many researchers many researchers do not know about what is the meta-analysis. So meta-analysis, it is a statistical analysis that combines the results of multiple scientific studies. So the meta-analysis can also be performed when there are multiple scientific studies addressing the same questions, with each individual study reporting the measurements that are expecting to have the some degree of error. So next is that the systemic reviews include a meta-analysis component, which involves using the statistical techniques to synthesize the data from several studies into the single quantitative estimate or the summary effect size. Actually, to these sentence actually it can be elaborated as that because the systemic review, it includes the it is the summary of the previous research studies around about 10 years, 20 years, or more than 20 years studies. So in contrast to the traditional hypothesis testing, which can give us the information about the statistical significance, did the intervention group differ from the control group, but not necessarily clinical significance? Was this difference clinically meaningful or large? The effect size measure the strength of the relationship between the two variables, thereby providing the information about the magnitude of the intervention effect, small, medium, and large. So the type of the effect size calculated generally depends on the type of outcome and intervention being examined, as well as the data available from the published trials. However, some common examples you can see here, like the odds ratio, weighted standard means difference, or the relative risk, or the risk ratios. So these are the different parameters. So although the systemic reviews are published in academic forums, and there are also organizations and databases specifically developed to promote and disseminate them. For example, Cochrane collaboration, which is widely recognized and respected international and not-for-profit organization that promotes sports and disseminate the systemic reviews and meta-analysis on the efficacy of the intervention in the healthcare field. So next is the most important points which related to the systemic reviews, and 8 most important points you can see here. These are the most important points. That first one is the formulate the review question. This is the important that on the basis of this review question you can decide which studies are important and which are not important to write a systemic review. Define the inclusion and exclusion criteria, and then you should decide which study is important. Develop the search strategy and locate the studies. So select the studies. Then you should select the studies from the large number of research articles. You selected some of them from that the collected papers. So after the selected studies, then you should try to extract the data. So after extracting the data, then you should decide which test or which statistical test is important. Then you should assess the study quality and analyze and interpret the results and disseminate the findings. And here you can see the reference, and you can also study by this reference. So now I would like to share a systemic review study, one example, and this is the zero prevalence of the toxoplasmosis human and animals in Pakistan, a systemic review and meta-analysis. And you can see here the difference of the research paper and the systemic review. The abstract, and here it is same as like that the original research article. Then you can see here the keywords, which is also similar to that the research article. Then it is the introduction, it is also same like to that the original research article. And these last 3 lines you see here that these are the sketch or the objective of this review article. So the material method, it is different from the original research article. Here in the material method you see that the different methods or different sources. You have collected the research paper you mentioned here, then the result, then you apply the results. You should elaborate the result on the basis of the statistical analysis. Like in this research paper you see that the forest analysis. Then you see that the discussion, and it is also important like the original research paper. You should comparison, and then the conclusion, then acknowledgement, and then last you can see here the references. So this is all about that the research and systemic review. And thank you so much. If you have any query about the systemic review, you can also put the points in the channel. Thank you so much.